live in different houses all over the world and Airbnb from time to time. Assets are becoming slowly invalid. So then how do you appeal to these consumers from a packaging perspective? So let's talk a little bit about the buzzwords. The buzzwords are millennial. Again, as I said, this has different definitions all over the place. Aging population is another buzzword that you will hear again and again. The rise of the Asian consumer. Put in your Google search engine tonight if you wish to do an experiment and put in the word consumer. 40% of the articles that will come up will be about the rise of the Chinese consumer and the rise of the Indian consumer. And this is especially very prevalent in the online Indian space. So green and good consumer is another such buzzword. You'll hear about it again and again. And of course, there's an active population that wants to buy green and sustainable products, but nobody can really identify what these products are and how these consumers want to be served. Therefore, let's get rid of the buzzwords. I want to talk to you today about the reality of it. And this is the reality of it, what my research tells me. My research tells me today is the age of the creative consumer. What do I mean by the creative consumer? Today's consumers want to be an active part of the design, the development, the inception, the production, the deployment, as well as the delivery model of whatever product and service they are consuming. There are hundreds of them, and once they reach this limit, they are inevitably forced to make a purchasing decision. If your product or service has not been introduced to them by the time they hit this limit, guess what? You can make the best product in the world, but your consumer will not buy it. There's also the rise of the emotional consumer. One of the things that's very interesting is as information becomes almost infinite, and as consumers have almost an infinite amount of opinions thrown at them, you would think consumers will actually become much more rational about their purchasing decisions. Actually, the opposite is true. As consumers do more research, and as consumers have a better understanding of what they're buying, they actually become emotionally attached to the product. And I will go more into this further, but today's consumers, especially if they're involved in the product from a creative stage, the purchasing will eventually be an emotional decision for them, not always a rational decision. And then that gets me to my most important point, the rise of the first time right, every time right firm. All of us in the polymer business and even other businesses, whether that's FMCG or other related businesses to polymers, have to understand and know today. Today's consumer does not forgive a mistake you make on the first time. Your product, your service has to be right the first time it gets delivered or served. There are no second chances. So there's a new rise of the first time right, every time right firm. Now, the clicker is not selling a commodity product. No one in our business wants to walk into a customer and be called a commodity salesperson or a commodity seller. And there's a great effort being done to delink this right from the molecule stage all the way to when a product ends up on the shelf. So what are these consumers demanding? I'll go through this slide quickly. They are demanding that everything needs to be an experience. An experience is as important as what the product that they are buying. No one is going to buy a new cell phone or a new pack of potato chips or a new package of chocolates if the experience of opening it and using it is not to their satisfaction. People want to save the earth by using green packaging, but there's a cost attached to it, and that cost is not always obvious. So we have to be aware that consumers want to save the earth, but the economics have to play very important into it. Today's consumers have a process. They will research the product, online or offline. They will read reviews, online or offline. So online is through the forums, and offline is talking to friends and family and people who have used the product. And then they will look for a trial. Is the trial possible? Can they try this product? Is there possible to use this product even for a fee, for a short period of time? And only after that will they accept or reject this. We have to be aware of this process and align the way our customers experience our products through this process. And that's even valid, very valid in the B2B space. Lastly, they want to understand what can this brand, the demands of the next gen consumer. And here's a process that I suggest to you that we also use. know what the best approach for your organization is. If your organization is volume driven, then there is no point for you to try to address demands of a consumer that is in a low volume, high margin segment, because you're not poised for it. And your organization is not looking towards that. So be mindful of what the best approach is. Assess your strengths and weaknesses. Know the markets that you can serve and what you can serve, what you cannot serve. Learn quickly the ability to know what you can execute and what you can do effectively. What do I mean by this? The more honest you are with an understanding of the kind of next-gen consumer that you can not think about, not imagine, not just perceive, but really realistically execute towards getting in your customer portfolio. Be honest and have a clear understanding about that. And then structure a process that works with the strengths of your team and compensate for your weaknesses. It's very, very important to know what you're good at and what you're not good at, and structure a system that compensates for the shortcomings of what you're not good at. Because in the end, if the system addresses that, your ability to execute and get to an effective outcome will be much, much better. And then last but not least, be the leader of this initiative, but also learn how to appoint leaders along the way. Because if you really want to address the next-gen consumer, you need to be a And last but not least, the HR team in UFlex, I've seen, is completely focused on watching how our teams get built and what are the strengths and weaknesses of these teams. Are these teams able to work together? Are there any conflicts of interest that need to be addressed in these teams? And they do this quickly and efficiently. And that's what drives this process forward. So what are some of the aspects for you to get importance to? I'll go through this quickly. But some of the aspects that are important for you to pay attention to is define what the level of engagement is important to you. Now, we all talk about next gen. We all talk about engaging with our customers. But the truth be told is, how much do you really want to engage with your customer? How much is customer feedback really important to you? Because the truth is, if you are in a high volume market where all that matters is price and cost, then listening to the customer is not for you. You have to redefine whether that is important for you or not. And if that is important to you, how important is it really for you? So think about this aspect. Think about it, what you actually want to do with your product portfolio. Then assess whether I've written delivery method, but really what I mean is experience. The delivery method, because we're all most people in this room are in B2B, but I know we have a few B2C people as well. Is the customer experience you're offering really relevant? Is the customer experience you're offering really something that's going to change your brand's perception in the customer's eyes and drive sales? Look to solve internal problems before external. Most people think about customers. I see there's 3 overarching points. He spends time on a daily basis in a relaxed state to explore new ideas. And this is very relevant because when I was growing up, I used to think, what does my father do in the office for 12 to 16 hours every day? What is possibly being done over there that he needs to spend so much time? And as I grew up and started taking more responsibility in the business, I realized that most of his evening time and weekend time is contributed towards looking for new ideas, looking for new developments that he can address. And today, when I have to spend the same time or hours in the office and I get blamed as well, I understand the importance of this. The second, he monitors his productivity from location to location and week to week. What do I mean by this? This sounds very, very theoretical. But the way he defines it and the way I've understood it as well is that when he is in Noida in his office, his productivity is at 100%. And he benchmarks his productivity that when I'm in office in this place, my productivity is 100%. And if I go to Dubai or London or I'm operating out of any satellite offices, my productivity falls to about 70, 80, sometimes 60%. And US is probably where his least favorite place to go is because his productivity in the US falls around 50% or so. And he monitors this and he tells me week to week that my week was productive or not unproductive. Hence, I chose to live in America because my productivity is 100% in my New York or my Kentucky office. And I've seen that it dips as I move time zones and shift. But it's important for you to monitor your own productivity and your ability to execute. Last but not